Well, greetings, world. It's Mark and Ann, and I got a frog in my throat, so bear with me
Good
here.
morning.
So, Ann, take over. And who do we have on the show with us today?
We have Irene Zeno today. Irene is the founder of Senior Transition Heroes,
Mhm.
which she's going to tell us a little bit about because I'm really excited about this podcast because I think it's great information. Irene is a real estate investor. I love this. She's a dedicated author and mother of five and has my
Man.
deepest sympathies for a mother of five. But she is a co author of a book, Caregiver's Guide to Navigating Mom and Dad's Care. Irene works with families, and I just think this is so important, and I'm so glad she does this. She helps them in kind of closing the gap in selling their home. When they discover they need care, Irene can step in and help them with how to get the equity and what they need out of their home instead of waiting months to do it. She can get them the money they need up front, trying to help them get that placement so that they have the money for care. And so she's going to talk with us about that and give us the ins and outs of all of that today. And I just think that's a great service. So I'm
It
really
is
excited to hear about
definitely needed, and we're
it. Yes.
excited to have Irene join us. So, let's count this show down and let's get it going. Well, good morning, Irene, and welcome to
Good
the show.
morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Glad to have you. How you doing today?
All is well. All is well. How are you guys?
Good.
Doing
Excellent.
good. Excited to have you on the show. I'm really looking forward to hearing about your company and what all you do because you're like Mark and I, kind of all things seniors.
Mm. The only difference is, Ann, she's not a senior yet like you and I are.
No,
so
she is not, but that's okay. We forgive her for that. It's
they
coming.
will.
You need to listen to this podcast more often. It's coming.
Exactly right. But anyway, let's kick this off, Irene. Just go ahead and tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Yes. So I'm Irene Zeno. I'm the founder of Senior Transition Heroes. We are a real estate firm. And what we do is we help seniors who need to transition into senior living sooner than later by tapping into the equity in their homes. I started this journey because, again, I worked in real estate for years. I started my real estate career back in 2015, and I saw a real need that was missing when it came to selling a home, particularly with seniors who are in a crisis situation. So I saw a gap that was there, and I just decided, you know what, I want to fill that gap.
And
Good for you.
That's the way things go because it's
Yeah.
definitely needed because unfortunately, so many families are caught off guard and they didn't really prepare for getting older and they didn't realize I wanted to age in place. I thought I'd get to stay here and die in my own bed, but sometimes that is not the case. And unfortunately, there's a lot of it. The demographics we're in, people have equity in their home, but that's all they have is to use that to pay for care. So I think we'll get into it a little bit further. The options that you provide is so needed, and people need to realize that there's more available because a lot of times they don't have the ability to wait on the traditional listing it. But as we'll get into this, the cool part is you have an option to give them anything they need when it comes to selling their house.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about that when they do need immediate care. And they're being discharged and they're just in that. And that's what happens. You know, we were talking on a podcast, as a matter of fact, last night, you know, Medicare gives them a 3-day notice. You're out of here. That kind of thing. And hospitals, when they discharge, it's very quickly. And typically these things do hit and it's a crisis planning. So tell us a little bit about how you help and what you guys do.
Right, absolutely. So in those situations, the traditional route doesn't necessarily work, which is, a lot of you really have two ways that you can sell the home. So one, you'll find a real estate agent that'll list it for you, but that can take anywhere from 45 to 60 days. And they just don't have that luxury of waiting for that to take place, the sale to take place, so that they can tap into that equity. Another route is that they will go with a cash investor who will offer them, a quick close, all of that. But the issue with that is they leave a lot of their equity on the table, and that equity can be used for the cost of care. So what we do is we fill that gap by giving them an offer that kind of falls in between that cash offer and what they would get if they decided to list it, and also be able to provide them with upfront funds needed to pay for that care. So whether that be, them moving into an assisted living facility or a personal care home, whatever type of care community they choose, we're able to provide, 2 to 3 months worth of care costs up front so that they can move into that home. Another thing that we're able to do, if they have a mortgage on the property, is take over those mortgage payments for those 2 to 3 months, so that way they can strictly focus on what matters most, which is moving mom or dad or auntie into that care community.
Okay.
Well, it's so powerful because we had the privilege of doing a deal together as we speak, Irene, and without mentioning any too much details, I think it's so incredible to where to watch all of this come together, is to where this is a situation to where it's just like, we do not have the time, the energy, the patience to have the traditional listing, having people showing the house in and out, back and forth. And Irene, the structure you put together was beautiful. And I want people to really understand and hear this. It's a situation that, like Irene mentioned, and this is important to me as well, is letting families know how the wholesaling side of the business works, how the investor side of the business works, and why you quote unquote have to take a haircut. And it's not to be taken advantage of. It's just the nature of investing into properties. So Irene being able to come along and do a blend of, okay, here's what the after repair value is, so to speak. Here's top retail that this house would bring on the market in today's market. And to be able to take that number and to come in and offer a quick resolution, a more than fair offer to the family, having a couple of months worth of mortgage payments paid and a couple of months worth of revenue to pay for the cost of moving into a community.
Yeah.
And after the fact, if that house sells for more than the target, there's an additional revenue split with the family. That is solid as it comes.
That's incredible.
It's incredible.
I mean, it is, because selling a home is stressful. I mean, I have a daughter that's a realtor. I have a brother that's been a realtor and a broker for over 40 years. So I know their piece of it, listening, but I've sold homes and it is stressful to go through that. Now, you got that on top of the fact you're already in a crisis. Mom's had a stroke. We got to do something, whatever the situation. The idea that you can walk in, because Mark, you just gave some details that I didn't know. So I'm learning too. And I love that, to hear this and to be able to walk alongside these people and get them to understand that the number one thing we're trying to do, you are not alone. We got you, we're going to help you. I don't think that most people know, Irene, that a company like yours exists and is able to come alongside them and do that. I just think what you do is incredible. I love it. I love that.
Thank you.
Well, Irene, going a little bit further, we've already touched on this and just mentioned a lot of it, but the gaps that you do feel when it comes to moving seniors into senior living and memory care, kind of fill in some more gaps, because there's more than just what's been said. So just kind of throw in a few more highlights of what is provided.
Yeah, so as far as those gaps go, we do cover everything from A to Z with them. We give them basically a blueprint. So when we come to meet with the family, we're going from, this is what you can list it for if you do decide to go that traditional route, and we're walking them through, those different nuances that they will face. Like you said, buyers in and out the home, the process of having to interview a real estate agent. We go over the numbers as far as like what that looks like, with the closing costs, the commissions, the bottom line. And then we take them through what we will offer. And so we're able to provide a blueprint, whether they choose to work with us or they, decide that, what, I want to go ahead and get top dollar and list it on the market.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about how the process works, so we can actually use a live example of us, right? So let's sit there and I'll use my company as an example. And you've got a lot of different providers out there, where they provide hospice, in-home health, in-home care, placement advisors, whomever. That there's a family going, hey, we need to move my loved one into assisted living or memory care. But we've kind of got a problem. We don't really have enough money in the bank account, but mom and dad owns a house. It's worth $380,000 and there's not hardly anything owed on it. And so, we need the equity out of that. So how does the process work, right? So Irene, you can pick up, ring, I call you. And then what do we do?
Yeah. So then we meet with the family. Well, let me back up. First, I will, get the address and I'll take a look at the market just to kind of see what's going on, how much homes are selling for that are similar to theirs. So that way I can do a market value analysis. And then once I'm meeting with the family, we're going to discuss, okay, what is it that you need as far as the cost of care? How long will you need it? Have you been able to, find that care community just yet? And what's your timeline? And so once we're able to get all of that information, we're able to formulate an offer that is unique to each family.
That's wonderful. Okay, so tell us this, because I know I love what you do with the real estate side of it, and I think this is such great information. But you also co-authored a book, and I know that is part of other ways that you support the senior community. So talk about that for a minute and tell us a little bit about how you also help to support the senior community outside of this.
Yes, absolutely. So with that book, we do give that book out to a lot of our, when I'm networking with different senior professionals. It is on Amazon. So it's a wealth of knowledge in there, basically helping caregivers to be able to navigate what that process looks like from A to Z when, their elderly parents have taken a downturn. And so in that book, it covers not just the financial side and the real estate and tapping into the equity. It covers everything from A to Z as far as, as a caregiver, getting that support that you need from your family members, as well as being able to have that self-care that you need for yourself as well. It covers a lot. Outside of the book, we are planning to do some workshops in 2025 and bring on senior professionals, senior care professionals that can share their wealth of knowledge as well and help families when it's time to move mom or dad into care, and even to have those conversations like, is it time? Because sometimes, families just don't know what they don't know. And
absolutely.
So, yeah.
Well, I'll say this out loud because I'm not bashful about it. When I started CareQuest, it truly was to come and make a difference. And it gets so frustrating when you're trying to truly make a difference. And I was trying to put together an advocacy council. And it's literally taking, because as we get in this industry and we come across and we see all the resources that are available, from the real estate side to the in-home health, in-home care, hospice, on and on and on it goes. The advocacy council I wanted to start a podcast series, having a group that someone represents every part of the pieces to the puzzle, and to collaboratively come together and bring that to market. So when a family's going through such horrible situations and they're overwhelmed that, oh, wow, I need this piece of the puzzle in my life. I need that piece of puzzle to my life. And you just snap it together and you end up with a completed puzzle. And then taking that to the street, taking that to go to senior centers, to go to churches, to have a roundtable discussion, to all get up there collaboratively as an advocacy council to have those talks. And I'm just being, it's been like pulling teeth. It just is. You're just like, what in the world is going on out here? And it's like everybody's
to healthcare.
It's just everybody's so busy doing their thing to where you're sitting there and you're going nuts because of all this knowledge, and it's needed.
Yeah.
For a fact it's needed. So I encourage you, like, push forward to the workshops. If you want to do the advocacy council and re-stimulate that, I'm game. Even if you don't, go do it with somebody else because it's needed.
Well,
so
it is needed. You're absolutely right. And I was going to say, I mean, Irene, I retired kind of, sort of.
And she didn't.
I did. I actually retired back in April and I haven't stopped working yet, but I did. But I retired from nursing home administrator. I've been a nursing home administrator for over 25 years. So I've been around the industry. I've been in the healthcare industry for 30. So I've done a little bit of all. I've done assisted living. I've been an administrator there, and assisted living and memory care. And then nursing home is my love. That's where my heart was. And that's what I did for years. But anything that I could help with the workshop, I live in Warner Robins. I'm not around the Atlanta area, but it's not that far. But I would love to, participate. If you need my help, if there's anything I can share, I'd love to do that. And I mean, I love, Mark and I talk about these ideas, and I think all of this is so needed. Just getting the information out to people, because that's really, excuse me, that's really what we started. Mark had already started the podcast. I was doing a separate. And so we decided to bring forces together to do this together. Because we both wanted to do exactly what we're doing and get this information out, like what you're trying to do. Help seniors and let them know.
And with that said, Irene, is there anything else you would like to add before we go? But also, what would you like to say to get other people in the profession to get the word out?
So I guess I would say just kind of be open. A lot of the times when people hear investor,
Gonna rip them off. Yeah. Here comes the snakes. Yeah.
Exactly. They get weird on you. So
yeah.
I would say, just if you are considering working with an investor or even a program like ours that's investor owned, keep an open mind. Not all investors are the same, and some of us actually do care.
Yeah. No, you're spot on. And I think that it goes without saying, to where I always say this, and I'll continue to say this, is know what you're saying no to. So you also have to realize that not only do some investors try to take advantage of people, but so too licensed real estate agents. They'll come along and they will try to just get the listing, and they'll say whatever they need to say to get the listing. So there's bad apples everywhere. So give each person the chance to show they're honest, and sit there and compare numbers. Numbers never lie. Nobody has a crystal ball to literally go, here's what's going to happen with the market. And if you sell today, you may in 2 months realize you could have got more for your house, but you also could have got less, because the market could change in a heartbeat. And so having them understand from an investor's standpoint, I myself, I got caught in the shift of the wrong way. I got caught in a house. There's money on the street. The market changed literally overnight. The rates start going up. And now a house that I have invested in kicks out a lot of people being able to afford it, because the rates went up so much. What would have been a $1,500 payment is now a $2,200 a month payment. So that's just the nature of it all. So to have someone come in like yourself, Irene, to sit there and go, I get it, I understand, not trying to rip you off. Let me just put a proposal together and compare that to a listing proposal. Because time you take out all the commissions and the closing costs and all those things, it may be worth your while to leave $15,000 on the table, so to speak, that you may possibly be able to get by listing. So again, know what you're saying no to.
Yeah.
But anyway, really appreciate
Mark, I'm sorry. I want to make one point while you're saying that, if you don't mind. I just, I keep going back to this is why we do this podcast, but it is. And it's why, Irene, you do what you do. It's why you founded Senior Transition Heroes, to help people. And that is to come up alongside these people. And that's what I think the majority of people don't understand, is that I have a lot of families, and have over the years heard a lot of families say, we just did a podcast with one the other day that went through some of this with his own mom. And he even said, I just did my own research. They're not, people aren't reaching out. They're not reaching out to Alzheimer's Association. They're not reaching out to a CareQuest, someone that can help them, and the time that it saves families and the stress. You go deal with what's going on with your loved one, because that's enough. Emotionally, everything else, that is enough to deal with. And let somebody that knows what they're doing do it for you. When you do your research, because let's face it, it's all about the money nowadays for people. It really is. But if you reach out and talk to some of us, I'm not going to make a dime off of who I send you to. I'm not, but I'm here to help. Mark is here to help. You are here to help. If you don't want to deal with me, that's fine. Let me get you to somebody. Everybody doesn't deal well together, but let me get you to somebody that can help, because that to me is the important piece. Is that we can help, and there are resources out there.
Well, Irene, thank you so much for joining us. And I must say that Irene does have a secret weapon. I know she's got 5 children, but she's got the cutest little son that I got to meet. And that's her secret weapon.
Okay. See, that's not fair.
Yeah.
Using children and animals. That's not fair.
But Irene, thank you so much. But again, here is the website. If anyone wants to go and check out and get in touch with Irene, here's our email here at CareQuest. And again, we are here at CareQuest Solutions to try to fill in the gap of all the decisions and the difficulty of placing a loved one into assisted living memory care. We do connect the dots and provide the pieces of the puzzle to help families take care of any decision they may have. So just keep us in mind if we can be of service to come and love on your family and help them get through a very difficult time. So with that said, Mark and Ann on CareQuest Solutions, Irene, thank you again. I wish everybody a wonderful day and a happy Thanksgiving.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you, Irene.
Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye.